All right, I want to talk to you a little bit here about the difference between tyranny and going to the movie theater. And I think I do have to talk down to the media just a bit so they understand this. Let me give you a couple of stories here. Anti-lockdown organizers in New Jersey, Kim Pagan. She's from Toms River, New Jersey. She was the organizer behind the anti-lockdown protest in New Jersey, in the State House in Trenton. This happened on Friday. Approximately 24 cars lined up outside of the State House. Some vehicles had signs in them demanding that the state reopen. New Jersey state troopers did not stop the demonstration, but she was charged with violating the Garden State's stay-at-home order. Okay, so what exactly happened here? Are they protesting that you can't open my favorite restaurant or I can't go to a movie? Or is it perhaps that they don't believe that you should be ticketing people who are in their cars? Then, to make things worse, the New Jersey Attorney General on Friday tweeted, "If you think emergency orders are more like guidelines than actual rules, think again." Whoa. Excuse me? Who works for whom? Now, in California, this is a big thing because the county that this happened in went for Clinton by a large margin. The protesters in San Diego County held up signs and lined the streets as people passed by. They spotted signs saying, "Open California now, all business is essential, liberate San Diego," yada, 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 yada. Protesters were out in force. Now, was it because they want to go see their favorite movie? Or is it because San Clemente has just shut down all of their parks and their facilities under the stay-at-home order on April 1st? But to make sure no skaters went there, they went to the skate park and they dumped 37 tons of sand in the skate park. Friday, the mayor of Los Angeles said he was thinking about banning large events and gatherings in the city until 2021. Last month, the left-wing mayor threatened that selfish small business owners who don't adhere to his coronavirus mandate and shut down their non-essential businesses could be criminally charged and have their water and power turned off. So is this about going to the movies? Is this about going out to my favorite restaurant? Or is this about tyranny? It is clearly about tyranny. Now, the press wants to make everybody who says we need to open up America, they make us sound like we are some sort of, death cult. I think I've actually read that you're part of a death cult if you believe that. No, I do believe that more than 40,000 people now will die because we've destroyed the economy. That will end up killing more people than the coronavirus did. Now, I am glad that we shut down because I think the coronavirus would have killed a lot more than 40,000 people. However, as soon as we can, we need to open it up. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean today. I'm not a doctor. But doctors aren't economic theorists either. We need both. We need the stats on the economy, and we need stats on the on health. And when we see that tide switch, where you're like, okay, it looks like you might be able to open it up, then it should be opened up, and it shouldn't be waiting for the national government to do it. This all should be done locally. This is all constitutional. And they think it's just because we're greedy or we don't care. That's the new spin from the media now. And I will tell you, I think this movement, coupled with the movement that is still to come from Antifa and the Bernie Bros and everybody else who are going to capitalize on 20% unemployment, they are going to capitalize on it. As we get closer and closer to this election, we are going to see our cities in real trouble. And some of it will be orchestrated. But if these governors and these mayors don't stop putting their foot on the throat of the American people, why is it that people are stupid? Why is it? Why is it that people are irresponsible and don't take responsibility for themselves? Because they don't think they have to. Because they never pay any consequence for breaking any rules. And you're always there to save them. I learned this by standing on the edge of the Grand Canyon. Grand Canyon, people will fall over the edge on the American side of the Grand Canyon a couple of times a year, I think. On the Native American side of the Grand Canyon, which is its own country, nobody dies. Nobody falls off the edge. How come? Well, if you've ever gone to the Native American side and you've compared the two, it's completely different. There's not a guardrail or a fence around the canyon. It's just the canyon. Rocks and all, little slippery slopes, and all of a sudden you're at the edge. I asked the Native American tour guide, how many people fall off this? And he said, nobody falls off of it. And I said, why? And he said, because in America, you keep putting walls up, and everybody thinks, oh, well, they wouldn't put a wall up that I could climb over if it was not safe. Well, they wouldn't put a wall here where I could sit on top of the wall and take some pictures if it wasn't safe. He said, here, everybody knows it's not safe. People are morons because we teach them to be morons. This movement is not about letting people die. This is not about a death cult. This is about stop telling us exactly what to do. I'll stay at home, but you give me a ticket for being in my car? Yeah, I'm going to protest. I'll drive my car every day, and I'll take your ass to court when this is all over. No. No to tyranny. Yes to safety and lives. Elijah Schaffer was up for the blaze in Seattle, of all places, with one of the protests. Elijah, how are you?
Glenn, I'm doing great. Thanks for calling.
Yeah, so the protest in Seattle, not the place I would expect it. Was it a liberty protest, or was it an Antifa protest? What happened there?
That's a good question. It was a little bit north. It took place just a little bit north, about 45 minutes north of Seattle. And what I thought would have been a bipartisan protest against tyranny, because I thought Antifa was anarchist, and I thought that they were so much against, the control of the government, and they thought Trump was a fascist. It turned out it was mostly just right-wingers who wanted to go back to work, telling the governor that they wanted their rights back.
So, Elijah, I just spent a few minutes saying that this is not about I want to go see my favorite movie or eat at my favorite restaurant. This is about tyranny, to stop telling us exactly what we can and cannot do. Is that accurate in your view?
100%. The people I talked to, two good examples. The first woman I spoke to was a single mother. She hasn't received a paycheck since March 16th. She's been denied for unemployment because she's self-employed. She told me and looked right into my face and said, I do not know how to feed my children. I do not know how to pay rent. She said, I am not lazy. I have never not worked. And now I'm unable to feed my kids. Why? Because somebody told me I'm not allowed to. And another man said, I don't have a job. I don't have food. He said, I know how to fish, and I can't even legally go out and fish. In Washington, it's illegal to fish. He goes, I can't even catch my own food, let alone afford it, because the government told me that's no longer my right to feed myself.
He can't fish in Washington State?
Correct.
What the hell is it? And that's part of the shutdown, is you can't fish?
Yeah, and actually people brought their fishing poles and did, I guess you could say, symbolic casts into the fountain in front of the state capitol building. But many people, had fishing poles that said, my fishing pole is an essential business because feeding myself is essential.
That's unbelievable. What was the response from the state?
The response from the state and the media was exactly what you would think. There were only Republican candidates running and some congressional senators that were there. There was silence from the governor, and leave it up to PBS and the media to lie and say a couple hundred people showed up when in actuality estimates from Enterprise reporting was about 4,500. So the event was smeared from the beginning.
4,500? 4,500 people?
Yes, it was beyond understanding. When I saw that, what I think is hilarious, and you'll check this out, when I went to look at Getty Images to see what images they reported, out of 4,500 people, there was one man who had combined a "Don't Tread on Me" flag and a Confederate flag.
I knew it.
One guy out of 4,500. Yep. That's 0.02% of the people. Only one I saw of all the people. There was one. And guess what image, when you type in the protest, is there?
That one.
One man.
That one.
Who wasn't even at the main protest. He was on the street outside. And the media, and the best part is the angle is from the floor facing up, which blocks out everybody. So of 4,500 people who, regardless of political opinion, said, let me go back to work. I want to work. I'm an American. Damn it. I want my job back. They chose this one guy with a flag that pushed the narrative that they wanted to push and refused to report on the truth.
Unbelievable. They do that. We had that in Tea Party after Tea Party after Tea Party. They would go find the one person dressed as the Statue of Liberty, and they would take a picture of that person to avoid the crowd. I mean, it's nuts.